getting the book and stuff like that. So, so let me know. But since you're just ordering the book now, we can I can just go through the pages and then you can catch up later.
Okay. Something tells me I'm going to get my book really quickly. I got to tell you, through this quarantine, I swear Amazon knows my address with their eyes closed. I swear I get stuff so quickly.
You and a bunch of other people too. I get so many Amazon packages lately. So.
There's no coincidence that Jeff Bezos has probably made more money than anybody over the last, 3 or 4 months.
Too funny. Hey, Deidre.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
I have been reading along with you. I think your book is awesome.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I'm excited.
Just talking about Keith, and she's ordering it right now. So I'll try to go a little slower for some pages or whatever, just so I can make sure that you stay up to date. But it's 11:00, whatever it is, 11:02. So this is the second week, and we're going to talk about pages officially 21 to 50. The book is only 115 pages, so it's not super long, which is part of my strategy to not make it overwhelming and too much. I love the MREA book, but it is also pretty heavy. Very detailed and very numbers oriented, which I am a numbers oriented guy, but even for me, it's really numbers oriented. And so this is a little lighter. But yeah, so we're just going to start. And again, I've never really done a book club before. So I just do whatever I think a book club would do. So feel free to chime in, Deidre, since obviously you have the book and have done some stuff. But the first thing I want to talk about, page 23, just talks about work daily on your mindset. And I know that mindset is a huge thing for everyone, but it's something that you can't have a book about success without discussing mindset. And especially this year, it makes it even more challenging to make sure it's something positive. So we're talking about mindset here, and Marquise, in the book, for almost every section, I have a challenge. I think it's good to learn about stuff, but learning about stuff is useless unless you do something with that learning. So in each section, I have a challenge to actually do something with that. So in this particular section, and I also love quotes. This one is from Gandhi, actually. It says, keep your thoughts positive because your thoughts become your words. Keep your words positive because your words become your behavior. Keep your behavior positive because your behavior becomes your habits. Keep your habits positive because your habits become your values. And keep your values positive because your values become your destiny. So it all starts with that little thought in your head that we have 1 billion and one every day. And just trying to keep it positive. It's not an easy thing to do, but your thoughts will create everything else in your life. So the challenge here was to write down 5 to 10 affirmations and read them aloud each morning. Do either of you have affirmations?
Deidre, did you want to go first?
You can go ahead.
So self-help and like new age thinking, including meditation and yoga and affirmations, that's right up my alley. I won't even bore you guys with my daily affirmations because I have several sources, but I think that the quote that you mentioned, Paul, that you shared, that is so poignant. It's 1000% true.
Yeah. Yep. I'm a big fan of quotes because they're just succinct little snapshots that are super powerful. And many times I just read something on the board and it just reminds me, and I say, oh, yeah, I need to, I need to do that, or that's a good reminder. So, and it's just a succinct little section. So, Deidre?
So
and it's okay if you don't.
I like a lot of them in bold, actually, and I think you've actually quoted some of them, I think, from bold in here as well. I think that one of them, I mean, it's you said, you can have reasons or results. You can't have both.
Yeah.
And I think that starting your day saying that, this is what I'm going to get done and I can do it,
Mhm.
as opposed to I'm going to try to do it.
Yeah.
I cancel the word try out of my vocabulary because even when I'm writing things to people, I don't use try. I use I will or um, something different than try because
Sure.
we're not going to try. We're going to do it.
Right.
And I think that um, starting each day with a positive affirmation changes the way your day can go.
Sure. Yeah. And there's another sign in my office says you can't deposit excuses. So
Mhm.
excuses are one of my biggest pet peeves. It's just I find a very fine line between people that are successful and people that make an excuse for everything under the sun.
Yeah.
It's definitely the people that aren't filled with lots of excuses and they just do it. One of my favorite goal-oriented authors wrote, after every goal, you should put no matter what. So whatever your goal is, and then put no matter what. So I talk about that in the book. It's just that means you have no option. When you have no option, you have to do it. So do whatever it takes to get it done. It's not, well, maybe if the market's okay, I can do it. Or maybe if I have some free time, maybe, no, just if it's your goal, do it, no matter what.
Yeah.
Add those to the end. So that's the challenge for that particular section there. And then actually I talk about do whatever it takes, no excuses. So right on that same vein. On page 28, I think we have that covered also. We're talking about, as part of your daily routine or your miracle morning or whatever book you want to quote, having motivational songs or speeches or podcasts that you listen to on a regular basis also. There's plenty of times when I've listened to something even just for 5 or 10 minutes and then I just feel like I'm in a much better state. And I just have everything on my phone and play it from there. Part of my team meetings that I used to have was starting with what you're grateful for. So we started every meeting asking people what they're grateful for. So why don't we do it today? So name one thing that you're grateful for today. Marquise?
Guys, please don't think I'm corny or weird or anything. But I am thankful for my human life form. Like when you look at all of creation, like there are so many galaxies, even within our own solar system, so many planets, so many animals, so many plants, so many people. And for whatever reason, circumstances still saw fit for me to be here in this present time. And even though this world, at least in 2020, has been completely upside down, I think, I just feel like I'm so lucky to be alive and to be healthy and to, I have 2 dogs who you may hear any moment, and they are wonderful and they remind me how much they love me. And it's just such an awesome experience to be, again, in this form, a human being living right now in the 21st century. And I just am so excited for this experience that I did not have to receive. So that's corny, guys, and I'm sorry, but I'm so grateful for that.
I love it. Dude. Deidre? Beat that one.
Yeah, right. So I think about this often, and I this has been a very up and down year, I think, for many of us, and I'm grateful that I've had the time that I've had to spend with my children and my family, and that's small. We've been social distancing at its finest, and haven't aren't able to see certain people in our lives that obviously isn't so great. But I'm grateful for the time that I have been able to have that I never would have had if we weren't in this situation. So
Yeah.
for that I am grateful, and I'm grateful to be able to actually work and show properties and be making money through this, because not everyone's able to do that either.
Nope. Yep. Yeah. I so many things to be thankful for. It's hard to even pick one. But since we're here today, I'm grateful to be able to give back and to help. Even if there's only two people on a call, it's nice to be able to give feedback and give some advice and help people learn and grow. I'm certainly no expert. I'm not perfect at anything, but I think I know enough that I can help out at certain times, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to write something that can be utilized for people and to enjoy it. So thank you. Thanks for being here. So on page 30, we talk about being accountable and holding yourself accountable. I had a coach for many years. I don't have one at the moment. I've taken Bold, I think 3 times now. Marquise, have you taken that yet?
No.
So I connected with a wonderful lady, my friend Tracy, 3 years ago at Bold. She lives and works in northern New Jersey. Hey, Jen. And we have kept a weekly phone call for 3 years now from Bold. And we do some role playing and some scripting. And so it's nice to have just kind of an accountability partner in terms of that. And I think also, if you're on a team, you can have some accountability on that also. So I just had a question to everyone. Do you have? Hey, Jen. You can unmute yourself for these conversations. Does everyone have their own accountability partner or buddy, or something that you're searching for? Marquise?
No, I don't have one.
Okay.
But I will search for one.
Yeah. So are you working on your own right now?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm like super brand new.
Okay.
I don't even know what Bold is yet.
Yeah, it's just a Keller Williams program, just to learn and to increase your business.
Okay.
It's like an 8-week program. So I would, if you can talk to Mike Rosania or Will. They're both productivity coaches, and so they can help with that. You can talk to Brandon. He can meet with you. Also, Brandon Hawkins, the assistant.
Okay.
And I'm always available also, so you can
Thank you.
contact me. How about you, Dieter?
I do. I have a coach, and when I don't have a coach, I often have scripting partners and that kind of thing. So I don't always have a coach. I happen to have a coach right now, which is working out really well. But so yes, I do. And
what are your thoughts about it?
So it's kind of interesting to me. Like, first of all, I'm super. I get up super early and I hold myself to a high level of achievement. However, at the end of our call every week to 2 weeks, there are certain things that we write down that I'm going to accomplish. And, I'm busy doing that for that period until I talk to that person again. But it's almost like then I'm like, oh, okay, is there anything that I didn't do that I need to do before I speak? So in a small way, it still does hold me accountable, just even having that call.
Yeah.
Because it makes me go back to that list and make sure that I did it. And
your homework.
yeah. So it's kind of interesting. And so that's it could be a very positive thing. And just one thing that I wanted to add is that being a new agent, I think it's awesome that you're reading Paul's book. And there's a couple of books right now that as I continue to grow, that my team will read Paul's book. I think he lays out so many things in this book that are really awesome, that it's right here, and all you have to do is read it and implement it, and you can do it. And then there are so many like other books as well that you can add to that when you really dig into certain aspects. So after you do his book, if you really want to get into like prospecting, another book that I'm reading now that we're doing a book club on our team is Fanatical Prospecting. And it really actually motivates me and gears me up for prospecting every day, and that's something that's really hard for agents to do. And if you don't prospect, you don't have business. And Paul lays that out in here, basically saying, you know, block out those 2 hours every day. They're your most important 2 hours.
Yep.
Thank you, Deidre. And you said fanatical, what was it? Fanatical prospecting?
It's called fanatical prospecting.
Fanatical prospecting. Okay, thank you, Deidre.
Yeah.
And Jen, who's your accountability person? Besides me. Jen's on my team.
I was going to say, funny enough, it's only you. And you hold me accountable. So you call me out on it. You're the one.
Yeah, it's no one likes to have an accountability partner in general. It's a human nature thing, but it does tend to work because you're like, oh, there is this person that is counting on me, or I told about this goal, or I told about this, you know, aspect. So yeah, it's important. Okay, so on page 31, the section is entitled "Everyone is a Potential Client or Referral, so act that way." And I have a fellow agent that always used to say, you know, I'm a public figure, and I always used to kind of laugh and roll my eyes, but you know, we are public figures. I mean, our names or photos are on signs across the city, and we're on online ads, and sometimes print ads, and sometimes on radio, and everywhere. So you know, people, you know, our job is to make sure we're public figures, and so this whole section is just about, you know, everyone is a potential client. It's something I say to myself all the time. Literally every single person that you see on this earth is a potential client. So it's not like we're other professions. I mean, I guess a doctor, same thing. Someone could be their patient, stuff like that. But you know, anyone you come in contact can be your client. So just act that way. And then the next section coincides with it and says everyone is a potential client or referral, so treat them that way. So every time you touch base with your dry cleaner, or you know, your landscaper, or your person at the hair salon, or whatever, just let them know that you're in real estate. You don't need to be all salesy. All you have to do is just talk about a closing you have, or talk about something, and they figure it out from there. So that's the section 1, and then we're on to section 2 on page 34, which, you know, again, any success book has to have. Yes.
So I love that you put that in there, and you know, it's something that I could maybe forget to like really plug into our team agents about, is that everyone is a potential client and referral. That means your family, your friends, like everybody. And you know, I think I for whatever reason, like that was ingrained in me very early on, and I've always lived that. So when I'm going, I not today because I'm like in my workout and whatever, but I always go out looking professional, like I'm working, right? So even if I'm running an errand, like you would rarely see me in shorts and a tank top or whatever, because I always look like I'm in between appointments and I'm always working, right? So during my daytime hours or whatever, like I'm almost always in some kind of dress attire. And then, and also like when you're talking to your friends and family, if you had a bad day and you're really like whatever, frustrated and whatever, like you have to be careful who you express that to, whether it's about a transaction that's going sideways or whether it's about somebody else's business, or whether it's that agent that you're not playing well in the sandbox with, or whether it's you know, that you're down because you know you sat for an hour making your expired calls and you got a lot of hangups and you didn't get to talk to anybody and make anything productive out of it, right? So so anyway, I think that the way you portray that to other people that you're talking to is a really big it's a big deal. And you're no matter who it is, whether it's a family member, a cousin, whoever it is, they're going to look at you. You always want them to look at you as the real estate agent with the knowledge and in control of the situation or whatever. So you have to be careful who you let loose on. Is my
Deidre, can I hop in, Paul?
Yeah, of course.
Deidre, I just wanted to thank you for acknowledging that. like get out of my mind, because just to give you just a quick snapshot of what I just came to realize, and you just confirmed it. Like you said, I look like, I've got on, stretch pants, and like I look like I'm going to go do yoga, right? And prior to coming on with you all full time, I worked from home. I worked for a cyber school. So I don't know if I even showered every single day. I didn't always look, I went to brunch yesterday, and because we haven't even been to church, right? In months, right? I went to brunch yesterday and I put on makeup for the first time in at least a month. And I wore heels, and I was like, wait, this is how it feels, and what I've been trying to tell myself is, hey, Marquise, just because you come from a virtual environment, hey, Marquise, just because we've been quarantined, like, you gotta look the part. When we sold our home in New Jersey a number of years ago, there was the realtor I used her in part, and we came from a small town. When I would see her at Walmart or at the grocery store, she just always looked so neat and professional. And I mean, I'm into aesthetics. I am neat anyway. But, when you're home by yourself for most of the day, you can kind of look like you have the cooties. And Deidre, to your point, I said, I've got to, if I'm going outside of the house, Paul, even to the dry cleaners, I'm going to look a particular way. I'm going to look like you all can trust me with your business. So I thank you so much. Talking about affirmations, it's crazy how you just kind of manifest, like, Deidre, you're not in my mind, but you literally said exactly what I came to think. So I know you guys probably think I'm so weird, and
that's what this is about. That's whatever sharing. That's awesome.
I am just so grateful for just this energy to set the tone for my week. I just am so grateful for you guys.
Well, I know even for me, like something that Deirdre had said was, being positive. So when I've been starting, we've only been back to showing homes about a month now. So I'm trying to make more of an effort of like, I bought that cute dress. I'm going to wear that dress. So I'm trying to like throw in some really cute dresses. I will tell you on the makeup tip, I was so ecstatic to be out. I wore a little bit of makeup. I made the mistake of wearing red lipstick, and then I put a mask on, and when I got home, I had lipstick all over my face. So I'm like, okay, so maybe no lipstick, but I can at least do my eyes up right now.
Yeah,
so that's my tip. That's my tip, ladies. Don't put on the big lipstick. It's going to get all over the mask and all over your face. But in general, when it comes to being out and about, I'm very positive. Like, Deirdre and Paul have known me, I don't know, 18, 20 years, whatever. We've all gone back. But I try to be really positive. Paul maybe gets a little bit more of my negative side if I have to tell him my crazy people I'm dealing with. But when I'm out and about, I was in real estate years ago. I took some time off when the market crashed in 2008. Paul talked me into coming back, but I've always stayed in touch kind of with everybody, would see everybody out and about, and I started a pet sitting business. And most of that is in my neighborhood. So I'm always out walking. I'm positive. So I've just gotten to the point, especially now that we're in this pandemic, people are reaching out to me a little bit more because they're talking to other people and they might be down and they're bitching. I'm not bitching. So I'm like, what's going on with you? And I'm like, what are you doing? I try to be that person they want to be with. They want to call and talk to. And I find, I also try to be a valuable source. So I get people, my husband always laughs because people will call me and ask me the most random, odd questions. And he'll be like, why do they think to call you and you would know? I'm like, I'm just that source. Like if I walk past their house and I see their gutters a little loose, I'm like, hey, I wouldn't let you know that's loose. Do you know how to fix it? I can find you a guy, or you just need this little tool, or I don't know. He calls me Mrs. Kravitz. He thinks I'm in everybody's business, but I do try to be a valuable source. And it's so funny how a lot of them still call and they're like, you know what? Jen knows a lot of people. She'll know who we can get for this. So try to just put yourself out there. Always be happy and positive with people. Like I said, I just don't go on about like, oh my God, I'm dealing with these crazy people. I mean, Paul heard my story this morning, but I'm like, I just try to be very positive about it. Like, yeah, I'm working with, people ask how things are going. I'm like, this is great. I'm working with 5 renters and 2 buyers right now. And the market's great. Have you thought of refinancing? Like, I make it sound like I'm busy, but not too busy for them. Do you know what I'm saying? And then just stay really positive and try to be that one person they'll always think of to come to. And lately, because I have switched up my pet sitting business, I've had people reach out and say, hey, are you still doing this? And I'm like, yeah, I'm the pet sitting realtor. What do you need? I can do, what do you need? I'm like,
That's a good point.
get me out there.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so just stay positive and do what you got to do, and you'll become that source that everybody does. This is definitely a social industry, and just
I'm
because
writing down.
a lot of them were virtual, it doesn't change that. You still have to. My husband has seen. I've probably hustled more now because during the pandemic we weren't out, so I was just going through my list and I was just calling people. Hey, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. How are you guys surviving the pandemic? Like, this is what we're doing. And I just started being that person that reached out, and now they're all starting to call me now for, just positive. But you always got to stay ahead of it. Just stay ahead of it. And it may not come back to you right away, but it does come back. I've had people, even in my pet sitting business, that have said, you were so nice a year ago. You emailed me back. You answered all my questions, or I took their call and I wasn't able to help them, but I sent them to people who could. People remember that. Be a resource. Be a positive resource for people. It'll start to come back to you.
Jen, I'm writing down in my notes, Jen is happy and positive, and she knows the answers to weird questions. So
everything, be the resource.
Welcome to Jennifer Nelson.
Okay.
It's a really good point. There's a lesson I learned a while back is, at times it's easy someone says, how's it going or whatever, and you're like, oh my God, I'm so busy. Oh my God, it's so crazy, it's so busy. And then you hear someone say something like, oh, I just bought a house. And you're like, why didn't you call me? And they're like, oh, I don't know. You always seem so busy. I didn't want to bother you. It's happened before. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to kill myself right now. But so, it's all, everything.
I'm busy, but I'm never too busy for you or your referrals.
Exactly. That's the line we learned. So yeah, so just keep that in mind.
Yep, it's happened to all of us. So yeah.
So the next part is talking about goals and setting goals. And it's just not anything I made up myself. Something I learned a while back. The acronym SMART, which means specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And that's how they train you on how to do your goals. So the first one is specific. So obviously you can't have a goal that's super vague, because then you don't even know if you achieved it or how you achieve it. So it needs to be specific, and then also measurable. Is it, I'm going to sell $10 million? Okay, then you can measure that. Is it, I'm going to sell 2 houses this month? Yes, that's measurable. So if you say, I want to sell a lot of houses, when do you know when you achieve that? So measurable, attainable, and realistic. There's lots of discussion about these on what that means. Some people say, oh, you should go above what you think you can attain, and whatever the reach for the moon, and if you fail, you can still hit a star. That was one of the quotes. And other people think, well, let me just set something that's I'm pretty comfortable hitting. So that's kind of a personal thing between yourselves of what you want to do, but attainable, realistic, and then the last one is timely. Again, if you want to sell 16 houses, do you want to sell it in a month? Do you want to sell in a year? So you have to have a particular timeline to make it the most effective goal. So that's the acronym SMART: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And I know Jen is aware of this because we've talked about it numerous times, because it's hard sometimes to set goals with these things in mind. But when you do, it's very easy to see, have I achieved it? Have I not achieved it? How much more do I have to go to achieve it? Okay, I have sold 3 and my goal is 4, so I have 1 more. Any thoughts or comments on setting goals in that acronym?
Well, Paul knows, I've never had to set goals. My goals have always been stuff like, oh, I want to buy this, and how much is that? Okay, and I'll just strive to start saving, and like little goals, like little things. And now that I got back into real estate, Paul's tried to tell me, like, you need to set goals. And so Paul has given me some of the goals. Like, he started me out with, what did we do? We sat down in February and you said my first 6 months I was to sell $1 million. And I was like, oh my God, Paul, I'm 2 months in and I haven't sold. And he was like, but what are you going to do to get to that goal? So I had to kind of rethink. And then, then I think I may have overshot it because then I was like, well, if Paul thinks I can sell $1 million in 6 months, why can't I do 2 million by the end of the year? And then the pandemic hit. And then I'm like, oh crap, how am I going to pull this goal off now? But we've been sitting down and Paul's been very patient with me and trying to get me to set up some monthly goals. We do something called the 411 that I'm still 3 months into trying to get adjusted on doing that. I should have had it to Paul last week and he's going to get it today. So I'm used to just writing things down on a list and checking them out. And I'm learning to kind of do them by a week, just set certain goals for the week and then check them off. And if they, don't get done that week, which certainly can. I've been working with a lot of renters and I was feeling very confident and I'm like, oh, I've showed them all that we're going to have one by the end of the week. They're going to be rented. And, it's not up to me sometimes. I'm waiting on the listing agent and then my buyers might, I want to keep looking. And so, but I try to set those goals and I'm trying to stay by them, but it is kind of nice to have a little accountability to hold myself in line of, by Thursday or Friday, I'm like, oh, I said I was going to do that this week. Let me get that done before Saturday. And, but I am striving with that. And I'm starting to see the bigger picture. I struggled the first month, second month, a little easier. Now I'm starting to see how it can help my business, that I have to set some goals to kind of give me something to go on. So I'm not just wasting the day of what was I doing today? I'm like, oh no, I got to reach out to these people. I have this goal that I want to rent this, but rent one property by the end of the week and just try to strive to help those people so I can make that happen. It's little things.
Thank you. And then page 37, we talk about prioritizing. It kind of ties in with what you were just talking about, Jen, prioritizing daily. So for me personally, each day in the morning, I write down the 5 or 10 things I want to accomplish, and then I prioritize them, and then I start with number 1. So it's a very systematic way of making sure that you're focused on what is most important. And then if it's done, I check it off, which is very fulfilling. And then I move on to the next one. So it's a very simple way every day to say, these are the 6 things that I need to do today, and to just do them. And like Jen said, if I only get done 5, then you take that one you didn't do, and that goes on the tomorrow's list. And it doesn't disappear until you do it. Does everyone else have similar habits, or you have different ones that work for you?
Yeah, unofficially, yeah, I do that. I hate when I have to carry it over because I didn't accomplish it today, whether it's, personal or related to my family. I hate when something, extends, but like you said, Jen, sometimes it happens.
Yep, true. Next page, on page 38, Deidre mentioned this earlier about time blocking your schedule, making sure that you're making time ties in with your prioritization, making sure you're prioritizing what's most important. And as you'll find in real estate, it tends to be connecting with people, whether it's emailing them or texting them or calling them, Zooming them, or whatever, making contact. They say real estate is a contact sport. So making contact with people is a priority, and that's part of what should be on your schedule every day. And it shouldn't be something that should be pushed out to the next day. You should do it pretty much the first thing to do. And so we talk about time blocking your schedule. And something you can do during that time blocking is the next section on page 39, which talks about handwritten notes. And it's something that we still do, Jen and I. I work with a company now that I can kind of handwrite it through a computer and personalize it and upload photos. It's actually a company that I found out through the BOLD class that we took last time. It's called amcards.com. And so I just sent one out this morning, actually. But, doing handwritten notes makes you stand out. If I go on a listing appointment, I send a handwritten note thanking them. After closing, we sent handwritten notes thanking people. I have, ideas after open houses, thanking owners. After meeting with them at listing appointment, congratulating clients on settlements. obviously birthdays and anniversary cards. Thank you for referrals, obviously to other agents. But, if you get your mail and there's a bunch of mail and one of them is handwritten on the envelope, which one are you going to open up first? You're going to be excited. You're like, oh my God, someone wrote something to me.
It's true. I actually, over the weekend, I from my I try to do like 10 a week. So I ordered, I created these on Vistaprint. I had these little note cards. So like, I don't know if you can see it. This one, I'm trying to do it. It says, hello there. And it's all blank on the inside, but the back is all my info. So I did 2 different ones and they just say, hello there. So I have this one with hello, and the same thing on the back is all of my info. So I've been sending out these notes, and I've started, I went on to Amazon, and I've been finding these like little packs of 25 cards. So I bought just generic sympathy cards. I have pet sympathy cards. I have, I just bought some happiness to you in your new home cards, and they were like a pack of 20, like maybe 25. And I bought a box and I started breaking them up. And so over the past week, I've seen people post on Facebook, like their mother died, whatever. I pull out one of my cards and send it off a sympathy card. I had 3 different people lose their dogs in the past week. They were all, 14 and older, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. And I sent them pet sympathy cards. And I did a yard sale yesterday. I had 2 different people stop by that said to me, I love that you still mail cards. And it's like they got either my little hello there just saying, hey, I'm thinking about you, or one of them had got my pet sympathy card. They said, I didn't even know this existed, and that meant so much to us that you cared, that our dog Peppa died. That meant so much. So I've just started to stockpile stuff, and then when I see somebody blast on Facebook, I'm just, put them on my list this week. That's who's getting a card. And that's the thing. Well, the one neighbor whose dog died, she laughed because they're literally a block away from me. I probably had to walk 3 blocks to mail the card. But she said, they said, that was so cute that you took the effort and you didn't just walk and drop it in their mail. She's like, you actually mailed us a card. And I was like, that was kind of funny that I was like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. But they were so touched. And like Paul said, people will be like, oh, what? Who mailed me this? This is really cool. And, yeah, just a little note. But I'm already just from doing these during the pandemic. I created these as soon as the pandemic started. I got 200 of each of the note cards, and I've been doing all these. I'm already starting to just see people, and they're thinking about me. And again, I didn't stick a business card in, but my info's on the back of that card.
Yeah. Yep. You don't have to scream it.
Nope.
Yeah. Guys, I know that we just met today, but we are kindred. You guys are my people. Since we've been here, about 15 minutes ago, I got a notification from Amazon. There's a delivery right outside. What is it, Jennifer?
Did you order note cards?
I ordered a pack of 100 floral, what do you call them, postcards. Yeah. And it's because I noticed through social media, there's this, what do you call it? Old folks home would not be politically correct, right? But it's
retirement center.
Retirement center. Right, in like North Carolina or something. And their residents are not able to see their family members. So they're asking for pen pals. And they must share 10 to 15 residents who are like, oh, can you write to me? So I thought, because Paul, like you said, there's something to be said about manually, I want to see your cursive, So I bought these cards. I can't wait to, hopefully I can knock out 5 or 10 a day. But as I'm listening to you guys again, there's fireworks going off in my mind because Deidre, like you said, you have to look clean and neat and professional, right? So I'm checking that off. But Jennifer, you're right. And that's just who I tend to be anyway. I try to be considerate because I need people to be considerate to me too, right? But you're right. If you sent me, a card acknowledging my baby going to the Rainbow Bridge, of course I'd be like, that Jen girl, she is awesome. Oh, I want to buy a house. I know you guys, where have you been all my life?
Well, and here's something. So I got this off of Amazon. So it cost me $25. It's this card box, and it literally is filled. I'm trying to get the right angle. Dividers, cards. It comes with, I think it came with 25 cards, and it cost me like 25 or 26 bucks. It's got wedding, baby, congrats, birthday. I have 2 of these. And so what I did is I combined the cards. So it's like all the birthday are in here, notes, whatever. And then the other one, I started putting the mass ones I bought of the pet sympathy, the regular sympathy. So I have these boxes. So I go to these, and then I have my little note cards. They're right here on my desk. They're just like, who's getting something out of the box today? And I also, like, if I'm at the dollar store and they sell a pack of little thank you cards, I'll grab those. So I have thank you cards. I literally have cards for probably every occasion now. And
I have a whole pile just to the left of my computer of all my little note cards, and I always liked writing personal notes. So even when I did like in-person open houses, everyone got a personal note after. And
nice.
I've always been a big personal note person, and not that many people do it anymore. So when you do it, you stand out even more. And people don't remember when you don't, but they remember when you do.
Wow.
Yep.
Yep.
It's funny that you say that, Deirdre, because my grandmother had Alzheimer's, and we're going back in the 90s. And as a kid, she lived in West Virginia. We would see her like 2 weeks every summer, maybe like a holiday event. But I always wrote to her and my great aunts, because back then that was what everybody, they would mail you a little $25 check or something. And my mom always said, write a thank you note, like always. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know until I got older. I was the only kid that ever did that at everybody they sent stuff to. So when my grandmother's memory went, and my aunts and uncles, her children, were taking care of her, I didn't get to see her as much because she, because of the Alzheimer's, they moved her to another state. But I would try to go see her, and she wouldn't know who they were and saw them daily. I would walk in, and she would remember. They would even prepare me. She's not going to know who you are. Be prepared. I'd walk in, and they'd be like, Jennifer, I haven't gotten a letter from you in a while. And it was so funny. Like those things, even though she didn't remember people, she still remembered. I would write her letters from school and tell her how I was doing. And her memory and the time frame. But that's when you talk about, Deirdre, people remembering, like that came back to me of, oh my God, like, she looked at my aunt and said, hey, have we ever met before? And my aunt said, yeah, in the maternity ward, because it was her daughter. But like, she didn't remember them, but she remembered me and not my other cousins. And so everyone was blown away. And I just laughed and said, well, clearly I was the favorite, but it was funny that she would bring up these letters that I wrote. I always wrote letters to people. So it does have an impact. It does.
Yep, certainly does. And this ties into the next section on page 40, which is entitled Make Appointments to See the Inventory, especially for newer people. Our job is to be experts. And so if you don't know the inventory, if you don't know what's out there, we're not doing a very good job in adding value. So making appointments, even if you don't have clients, you just make an agent preview appointment to go check out inventory. So whatever area you want to specialize in, you can know about the homes that are for sale. So, which is part of something Keller Williams calls the 10-4, which is doing 4 things a day 10 times. And the 4 things are make appointments to see properties, write handwritten notes. I'm sorry, they're all 10 things. So you're supposed to make 10 appointments to see 10 houses, write 10 handwritten notes, put 10 people into your database, and make 10 phone calls. So that's the 10-4. Do 4 things 10 times a day. So writing handwritten notes, we just discussed, is one of them. And then, seeing inventory. Because nothing will make you look more of an expert than if a client of yours says, oh, have you seen that place? So you're like, oh yeah, it's not a finished basement like this one, but also the second floor is larger, blah, 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 and all of a sudden they see you as adding value and knowing the market. So that section is very, very simple.
Where's the 10-4? Is that in the MREA?
I don't think so. I think that's just a Keller Williams thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you come across that again, will you send it to me?
Sure. Yeah, of course.
I just want to. I teach all those things, but I don't teach it 10-4, and I'd like to know more about that.
Yeah. So again, it's 10. Make 10 appointments to 2 places, 10 handwritten notes, 10 people in your database, and then 10 contacts, calls, emails, whatever.
Okay, I like that.
Mm-hmm. So the next one on page 42, we'll talk about. It's called the riches are in the niches, and so kind of finding your niche. And so my phrase has always been, be the king or queen of something. So be the be the queen of the 500 block of Fitzwater Street. I don't know, whatever it is. I mean, each block has like 50, 60 houses in it. So even if you're the go-to person for 50, 60 people, you're going to get numerous sales a year just from that one block. So rather than trying to market to be 18 different neighborhoods and the whole city or even sections, literally just pick a block and be the king or queen of that block. So that means knocking on their doors. That means sending them, direct mail pieces they get in the mail or handwritten notes. That means if you can get their phone numbers, contacting them or putting up flyers or doing a block cleanup or whatever it might be. Just be the king or queen of one small area, but that small area usually has 50, 60 people. If you go around the block, and literally you talk about a couple hundred people, and you're still just talking about one block. And it's very easy to be the king or queen of that area because you're going to spend all of your time just on that block, and you can be the expert. You're going to know everything about every house. You're going to know everything about every person that lives there. So we just kind of talk about that in the section of, the riches are in the niches, and be the go-to person for something. Let's see here. I said, here's how you become the king or queen. If you just focus on 50 to 100 neighbors, and on average owners move every 8 to 10 years, that's a potential of around 7 or 8 listings per year. Be the agent that those neighbors think of first when they decide to list their home. Being the first agent neighbors think of is extremely important. Studies by the National Association of Realtors show that over 75% of homeowners only contact one agent before, hiring someone. So if you're the first one they think of or the first one they speak of, 3 out of 4 times you're going to get that listing. And so it's easy to be the first that people think of if you focus solely on just a small group of people, and every month remind them who you are and add value. Any questions or comments on that? I know Jen is in Fishtown and spends time, working on Fishtown. I've been in Queen Village for a long time and kind of specialize in kind of Queen Village, Bella Vista. When I first started, again, Deidre and I go way back in Prudential Fox and Roach, and then Jen also was working in that office, assisting an agent. So we've known each other for quite a long time. But when I first started, Kathy Conway, who's a very well-known real estate agent in Philadelphia, grew up in Queen Village and knows Queen Village. And I moved there, and I'm like, oh, great, I got this damn lady, which I love Kathy Conway, damn lady who just owns this entire neighborhood. Like, what am I supposed to do?
She's like the queen down there.
She is, as she should be. She's
what was it, Pensport and Queen Village, Deirdre? What was her area?
She does. Kathy does did always at Queen Village. That's where she lives. That's where she.
Yeah, she's still down there. She's so funny.
Yeah. So I just saw her actually last week. She's
still running around.
And I got one of her whispery voicemails last week because I showed one of her rentals. She's so sweet.
Jen. Hi, Jen. How are you, Jen? So nice to hear from you.
She's so sweet. Oh my gosh.
So I decided, okay, she's the queen already, so I can't take over Queen Village. So Bella Vista is the next neighborhood over, and I'm right kind of on the edge. So I've spent a lot of time kind of working on Bella Vista. So the bottom line is, try not to market to 1 million people, because you're gonna be unsuccessful to 1 million people. Kind of try to focus yourself on whatever niche you'd like. And next one on page 44, as we're kind of finishing up, reading daily. And Deidre started talking about other books. So on page 45, I have 10 different books that I recommend also. So Deidre, you talked about fanatical selling. Anyone else reading a book right now that they highly recommend, or something that they've recently read that they highly recommend?
So I've read a bunch of these on your list. I appreciate your list so much that last night I ordered Awaken the Giant Within. I haven't read that yet.
Yeah, that's a oldie but goodie.
Mhm.
Tony Robbins.
So that's going to be my next book. So after I finish Paul's book and Fanatical Prospecting, so I'm reading 2 at a time right now, whatever. But usually I like to focus on one and get it done, and then. But the Miracle Morning is awesome. That was life altering for me, and that's when I read. I get up at 5. I read, even it only might be 5 or 10 pages in the morning, and then if I go back to it later, I do. But if I don't, then I've accomplished that. The Compound Effect, one of my favorites. I've got so much life out of that. I use it in not just business life, but in all life. And then, and even when we have to divide up a project, or one of my kids has a project that read of like 400-page book. I'm like, well, don't look at like you have to read a 400-page book. When do you want to finish it by? Let's divide up. Okay, so if you read 25 pages a day for next, then so a lot of these books, like I do love reading, and I love that you're doing the book club, Paul, because last night I hadn't read as many pages to get. I actually read to page 60, but I said, okay, like I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna like finish what I need to finish for today. So, having the book club holds me accountable and gets me to the page that I should get to.
Yeah, and I'm not much of a reader, so Paul has really encouraged me to start reading. And then when we first went into pandemic shutdown and we were doing a lot of Zoom classes, I would always say to some of the agents that were teaching the class, "What books are you reading right now?" And so. A lot of the books that were suggested for me, like the Badass series, I bought, 2 of the Badass books. I've still yet to get to the source. Deirdre, in a class, I think you, like a month ago, you recommended the Compound Effect. So I bought that. That's one of my next ones. Paul's book just arrived yesterday. I've been waiting a week for that to get to me. I just finished reading The One Thing, and I'm halfway through MREA, which I just keep downstairs, so I try to read it here and there. But I have books on my night table, and that's where I try to do the most because I'm winding down from the day, and it's kind of peace and quiet, and I can just kind of read. So I'm trying to do 5 chapters in a week because I'm not the biggest advocate for reading, but it's starting to become natural now because I've been doing this for a couple months. I'm trying to force myself, but yeah, people start to suggest a book. I'm running out and I'm trying to get it. So my pile of books to read is definitely growing.
Love it. I read like 6 books at a time. It's obnoxious. I love it. All right, we have a couple of minutes left on pages 46 and 47. One section is learn, go to seminars and webinars, conferences, and learn things. And the next section is learn, but more importantly, implement. And so we kind of the old Oprah full circle thing. So in the beginning of the Zoom, we talked about, learning is good, but it's useless if you don't do anything with it. And so these are the sections talking about that, to learn, but also every time I went to a conference, I would have like a list of things that I was going to do. And in my opinion, for anything, you should have that. So at the end of any Zoom that you go to, any training, you should have 1 or 2 things that you are going to do. And for me, I need to write them down. So write them down, I put a star next to it and say, okay, this is my to-do list. So, and I put that into that daily prioritization, and then you do it. I find in my life, being successful is not super sexy. It's just doing all this boring, regular stuff every day, and then it just turns into success. So it's not some super magical, awesome thing that you learn to do. It's just learning something, saying I should implement that, and doing it. That's it. It's what I do every day. And so learn and then implement is what we talk about on page 46 and 47. And another favorite phrase of mine that I learned somewhere in some seminar, don't be a secret agent. So again, back to the previous discussion, we're public figures. It's our job to be known. So don't be a secret agent. We need to let people know that we're in the business and that we can help them. So feel free to discuss things on Facebook and talk about real estate, and don't assume people know who you are or what you do. But you can do it in a nice way where you're adding value and not driving people crazy. I mean, contacting people constantly and say, do you want to buy something? You want to buy something? That's not adding value. That's me. And you all want it to be about you. What can I do for you? What value can I add today? What can I, like Jen said, and Marquise, you'll find as you get into this business, yes, literally people call us for anything under the sun. And I have also had my partner say, these people, why are they calling you about that? A lot of people don't understand. I mean, I love it. That's good. I'm so happy that people are calling me for some crazy thing, but be the resource. But it happens all the time. And so the challenge for this one was tell at least one new person today that you're in real estate, however you want to do that, whether it's a text, whether it's a Facebook post, whether it's an email. You can just say, I just went to the most amazing book club Zoom I've ever been to, and learning about real estate and how to be a great realtor. So thankful, whatever. You didn't ask anyone if they want to buy something to sell something, but you stated you're learning, you're growing, and I'm in real estate. Done. It's very simple. Any comments, questions on this? And last but not least, on page 88, 89, and 50 is be an amazing agent and be aggressive. And I'll just read this, for under be aggressive. It says, not many clients want someone that's weak in negotiating on their behalf. The word aggressive can sometimes have a negative connotation, but it doesn't have to be in this circumstance. Being aggressive means you treat the deal like it's your own. It means you stay on top of it. It means that you will stay on top of the other agent to make sure things are done on time. Being aggressive means following up consistently with leads. Being aggressive is asking more and more questions and digging more deeply to get the real reasons and motivations from your clients. Being aggressive is fighting for every dollar for your client. Some people thought I should use the word assertive for this section of the book instead of aggressive. While I can understand where they're coming from, I stand by the word aggressive. Any word that creates an emotional reaction is the type of behavior that can propel you to beat the odds, and that's what this book is about, to be the exception. So many times I've used the word aggressive in talking with clients and things of that nature, and a lot of times I'll say to them, they'll be like, oh, I got your postcard, or I got your mailer, oh, I got this. And I said, well, you see how aggressively I marketed to you. Now you have an indication of how aggressively I'm going to market on your behalf when I'm listing your home. And so I've had many people in the past say, I want someone that's aggressive. And so I just talk about that in the book, and how it's been worthwhile for me, and how I see aggressive as not a negative connotation, but more of a passionate connotation, of if I'm negotiating for someone, and I know a client will probably take $300,000 for the house, but I'm pretty sure I could probably get $302,000. I'm going to get that because that's like super fulfilling to me, that I just made someone $2,000 that they weren't even planning on getting. And so part of that is negotiating like it's my money. Any last bits of comments, questions, concerns?
Today was awesome. I appreciate you and thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. So we'll send out an email, but we're doing like 25-ish pages per class, and so it's 4 weeks. So this was up to page 50. So I think it's like 51 to 80 or something. And I think we're doing 30 pages. 51 to 80, I think, is the next week. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you guys so much. It was such a pleasure. Can't wait till next week. I'm hoping that I'll get my book really quickly, and I'm going to try my best to be as up to speed as possible.
Sounds good.
I'll be right with you. Mine just came yesterday, so it means I have 50 pages. So what?
We
75
can
to
do
read
it.
by next week.
Right.
We can do
You
it.
can, you can, you
No
can.
problem. I mean, that's part of the book club is to summarize it. So no problem. So I appreciate everyone. Have a good day.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye bye.